address, which will be taken by Dr. Victoria Eghomwanre. Encompasses the physical structure, including technologies, tools, and furnitures. And when we are talking about pedagogical dimension, we are talking about the tools, the student learning activities. We are also talking about the methods, the strategies, and the structures involved in facilitating student learning. And when we go over to the psychosocial, we are talking about the one-on-one or the interrelationship or the relationship between the students and either students to student or students to teachers. So, and this particular dimension is a strong predictor of student affective and cognitive outcome. I mean, that is the psychosocial one. Then we now go to specifically to these interrelationships. The impact of this interrelationship. Physical spaces, that is the physical dimension, facilitated or hindered, can hinder different pedagogies and influence the psychosocial learning environment. So when the physical dimension is not in shape, it's not properly, it's not adequate, or there is a break, or there is a disorder in the physical environment, it invariably affects the pedagogies, the learning resources. So when there is no physical environment, it's hard to even apply those pedagogies. Then physical environment can also affect the psychosocial environment. Flexible spaces such as tutorial classrooms, for example, supported students and teachers in achieving certain behaviors. And I was in a situation where students confirmed that they learn better when they are grouped into little tutorials. And they have that connection, which is the psychosocial element. Then looking at the pedagogy adopted motivated students to be physically present when there is the amount of content is reduced, or there is poor time management, or the assignment planning is not well, it affects the student's psychosocial dimension. Then we now talk about the importance of the psychosocial learning environment. Elements such as sharing emotions between students and teachers, supportive relationships, this influence the student. And in fact, the role of the student as a person, I mean, in terms of your background, also contributes to the psychosocial environment. Either their nationalities, their genders, their ethnicity, influences their use of classroom. There are some students from certain backgrounds that we are identified to always stay at the back of the classroom, or they prefer to use a particular kind of furniture, or they prefer to use a particular kind of washroom. So when such backgrounds are put into context, it affects the students' learning. So these are a way of helping educators and institutions to look into these various differences, either on the part of the students or on their background, to see what psychosocial elements and what pedagogical elements and what physical structures can help them maximize their learning. And the institution's role. Before I round up this keynote address, I will be talking about the institution's role. The institution could address constraints such as tight subject organization and a high-stakes examination. When the subject organizations are tight, automatically the students' psychosocial, their mentality, their mind frame is affected. So tight subject organization and a high-stakes examination could be detrimental to students' learning experience. And it's part of the institution role to organize subjects and learning content in a way that the students maximize maximize what is being taught, maximize the knowledge that is being shared. And in order to reduce the student anxiety, studies have shown that institutions could go more into their psychosocial experiences and find out what they are anxious over. Anxiety is part of the psychosocial problem that could impact student learning. Then, how can they do this? Flexibility, independence, responsibility and creativity, and self-directed learning. Self-directed learning. This is very important and this is very crucial. The institution should encourage students more. I will briefly say it one more time. In conclusion, the evolving and complex intrinsic interrelations of learning environment dimension over time cannot be emphasized. Therefore, contextualizing spaces, practices, educational activities, and student subjective experiences in different learning environments to illustrate how these multiple elements intersect and influence student experience is paramount to each institution. This conversation should go beyond learning environments, but considering the relevance of formal academic institutions and trade school for preparing socially responsible and ethical organizations, society leaders, and the led, especially in a multiracial world faced with digital innovations, financial changes, and numerous health challenges, we highlight the relevance of this topic.
A good learning environment. A good learning environment would have the following: a proper play area, a cafeteria,